This is Info-Biz Blueprint, a masterclass on how to build a 5-figure info business in 60 days. And I mean that. If you're on any of the lists for this sort of thing, you get a lot of these come-ons, but I promise you by the time we're done, you will have not only an idea of how to build your own 5-figure info business or better, but actually have the means to go ahead and do it. And that's whether or not you know what an info business is yet, and whether or not you've ever managed to do anything online, either tried or tried and not succeeded. In order to get the most from what we're going to be going over today, it's a lot of information. This is a pure training class. And my suggestion to you would be to try your best and focus on what we're going over, which means shutting off your phones and iTunes and Skype, and shutting down Facebook and not checking email. Close your door, give yourself a break. This is an opportunity to hear and understand some life-changing information, and I don't say that to exaggerate. You'll see why. This is truly life-changing information, and if you're not paying attention, there's a lot of it. You're going to miss some crucial pieces. Okay, my promises to you today are that, 1, you're going to learn 2 methods that you can take with you from the class today and use them to earn immediately, as in as soon as we're done. 2, you're going to understand exactly how you can do this yourself to actually build or create that 5-figure info business in a matter of weeks, a month, 2 months. You can get there, and I'm going to show you how. And 3, as I mentioned in the emails and on the, those of you who may have seen responded to an ad on Facebook, I have a freebie for you that is legitimately worth sticking around for. And I promise you, you will agree it's well worth sticking around for. So how are we going to fulfill those significant promises? Well, one thing we're going to do is break the rules. Those are hefty promises, and in order to do them, to fulfill them, we're going to do things a little bit different. If you've been on this sort of webinar or training session before, you know they typically follow a format and do a lot of things that, quite honestly, are somewhat of a waste of time. And this is the generally accepted wisdom for guys who do webinars, that we're supposed to spend a bunch of time up front on filler information, background, feel-good stories, and pretty pictures of the family and vacations we've taken and the Lamborghini in the driveway. And I do not have a Lamborghini in the driveway. But really, do you care about that stuff? Of course not. I don't even care about that stuff. And to spend a lot of time going over it is disrespectful of your time and won't give us the time we need to get through the staggering amount of information we're going to get over. I'm also supposed to withhold some info. I'm not supposed to give you everything you need to leave here and actually produce without spending any money. But guess what? I'm going to do just that. I'm going to give you everything you need to leave here without having to spend a dime and really fulfill that promise that I made up front of being able to build a 5-figure info business in just weeks. So in order to do that, I'm going to give you a brief background of how I got here to put it in context so that you'll understand where this is coming from. I've spent the last 15 years as a full-time internet marketer. And what that means is I've earned my living entirely online. This is what I do. It's all I do. It pays the bills and has been my full-time gig for quite some time. And I hear something beeping, and I'm not sure what. I don't know if you all hear that. We're just going to ignore it and hope it goes away. Wow. I think that's an alarm of something I've set up somewhere. Wow. Okay. In the process of doing this full-time internet marketing thing, I've generated millions of dollars in revenue, and that's legitimate. Oh, yes, I found what it was. It was an alarm. Sorry about that. If you didn't hear it, I did, but now neither one of us. So doing this, I've generated a lot of money directly and with partners. And of that 15 or so years, about the last 8 years, a lot of that time was put into training hundreds and hundreds of internet marketers to do what I do. I tell you this for a reason. Here's where I was at. I bought into this notion that it's possible to earn a lot of money online and achieve lifestyle freedom by doing the internet marketing thing. You know, I came to the belief that I could control my destiny and earn what I wanted to online without having to do the, 40 or 60 or 80 hour job, or working for someone else, or working from somewhere else. If you're here, you probably bought into that dream as well. Some of you may have started trying to do that, or considered it, but didn't think you had the time, didn't think you knew what or how to do it. Some of you here, I'm sure, have actually made the effort and done some things to achieve that internet marketing lifestyle freedom, but it didn't pan out. Either you made a few bucks and then it dried up, or one reason or another you haven't been able to reach that goal. Some of us have had some success, and very often it's based on what I call a loophole scheme. Things like gaming the search engines, learning ways and means to get your website to the top of Google, only to find out next week or next month that Google changed things and you're no longer on page one. Worse yet, you've been removed from the search engines. These are the loophole get-rich-quick schemes that I do not subscribe to, but a lot of us have tried them and even made a few bucks from them. If that's you, if you've bought into this idea that it really is possible to achieve that internet lifestyle freedom, and you haven't achieved it yet, either you haven't started, haven't tried, or have tried but it hasn't resulted in what you hoped, then you are in the right place. I'm here to tell you point blank that anyone willing to invest a little quality time, and we're not talking 40 hours a week or even half that, this is something you can accomplish. And I'm going to tell you specifically how, the actual things you can do, the steps you can take, and how to take those steps to do it. It's my contention, based on years and years of experience with hundreds and hundreds of people, and I'm talking across the entire spectrum, from brand spanking new beginners to seasoned pros, that if you know what to do and how to do it and will put in the effort, you can achieve virtually anything you want, whatever that internet lifestyle freedom looks like. There's two aspects to succeeding. The first is the mechanics. That's the knowing what to do and how to do it. And I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to show you the what and how. The second, and this comes from a perspective of working with, helping, and training hundreds of people, is mindset. It's been my observation that as people start and as they progress, virtually all the stumbling blocks are inside your own head. Beliefs about what you can and can't do, how fast you can progress. So if you have the what and the how, the only reason you wouldn't succeed is inside your own head. I'm going to give you a what and a how that works. And hopefully you'll see how straightforward it can be to be successful. If we do that, hopefully I'll also give you the confidence and positive mindset that you can pull this off. And if we achieve that, then you're good as gold, and truly the sky is the limit. Oh, yes, you'll want to stick around through all of this, and it's only about an hour, because along with this life-changing info, I have, as mentioned, a legitimately valuable freebie for you and an opportunity that few people ever get, and you all are going to be the last ones to get that opportunity. So let's look at specifically what we're going to go over today, what you're going to learn. You're going to learn the how and why of making money with an Info-Biz, how it works and how to do it, and the specific steps that you can take to make an extra 3, 4, 5K a month or more. You know, I mentioned at the outset, and in fact the title of this presentation was how to achieve a 5-figure Info-Biz. That's not meant to be the goal. That's the starting point. Believe me when I tell you, if you can achieve 5 figures, you can achieve 6 figures and probably 7 figures. But achieving a 5-figure business sounds a lot more accessible, like something we might actually be able to pull off. And I don't want to scare anybody or give you the impression that this is probably not something you'll be able to do, because it really is. But that 5-figure sum is really just the starting point. So let me tell you how I got here, so then I can show you how to get there. Way back when, in the previous century, literally in the previous century, I got online early. I got involved with some of the early online services and bulletin board systems. Some of you may recall CompuServe and The Source and Prodigy Online, America Online. And I saw opportunity. Being an entrepreneur at heart, I figured I could make money by buying things cheap and selling them for more. And I actually went into business with my brother. I lived in New York at the time, and in Manhattan there is a whole area of the city called the Wholesale District, where anybody with a tax ID can drive up, buy stuff wholesale, fill the trunk of your car, drive away, and then sell it in a store, at a flea market, online. And that's what we did. We bought stuff wholesale, put ads up on some of these early services, and sold them at a profit, and it worked. We actually made some money doing it. It was exciting, it was fun, it was new, it was different. But in the end, it didn't really amount to much. Like I said, we made a few bucks, we learned a lot, but this was not retirement money. This wasn't even quit your job money. It was a little extra income, and that's not what I was looking for. I was still looking for that notion that there's got to be a way to earn a full-time income in less than full-time online. And lo and behold, I discovered eBay. I know a lot of you on here have dabbled in eBay. At the time, I thought that was the answer to my dreams. I can, achieve that lifestyle freedom by buying wholesale, selling at a profit, and eBay is the marketplace that allowed me to do it. But guess what? That didn't quite work out that way, and those of you that have tried eBay will recognize that. Great idea. There are people who make money on eBay, but eBay and e-commerce in general have some distinct obstacles and limitations to achieving that lifestyle freedom. Among them is inventory. You've got to lay out money to buy the stuff that you're selling to make a profit. And that's very limiting, especially when you don't have a lot of money, as I didn't early on. Then there's the whole shipping and receiving thing. You've got to, pack up and label and bring down to the post office or call for a pickup for everything you sell. And there's customer service. You got to deal with customers. Those of you that have dabbled in eBay will recall that dreaded message from buyer that you get when you log in, people who see your listings and they have all manner of questions. Few of them buy. The ones that do are, up front they're going to be headaches, and it's a lot of work involved. And as a result, it was a real one-to-one ratio. You had to do a lot for every sale. To make the money that you made with each sale, you had to lay out the money for inventory, you had to pack it, you had to ship it, you had to service a customer, and again, it was not going to be that answer to the dream that I had hoped. And then I had a life-changing epiphany. I bought a report on eBay. As a seller on eBay and spending a lot of time there, I happened to see a listing for a report on how to do better as a seller on eBay. I bought the report and it changed my world. And it didn't change my world because it told me how to sell better on eBay. It did that. And I was actually able to improve my margins, lower my listing costs, increase my number of sales somewhat. But what changed my world was not that the report showed me how to do eBay better. It was that I realized you could sell information and not just physical goods. As a seller on eBay, I was able to look at information about other sellers. Again, if you're on eBay, you recall this, see how many of a certain thing they sold, how often, etc. And I checked this guy out and saw that he was selling hundreds of these reports. And it hit me. This guy didn't have the issues with inventory or with shipping and receiving. And by the way, you can no longer sell digital products on eBay as digital products. You have to include a physical product with it, like a CD or a printed book. But at the time you could. And this shook me. It changed my world. I realized that selling information absolutely trumps selling physical goods. I mean, everything about it addressed those e-commerce issues, the physical products dilemma. And all of a sudden I thought maybe this is the answer. So I began learning the info products business, learning how to create and position and sell digital products instead of physical products. I found ClickBank. Most of us are familiar with ClickBank. They're the largest digital marketplace, I think they call themselves. And I began learning how to do this. Since then, I've created or partnered on well over 100 info products. And in the process, I cracked the code, meaning I learned how to figure out what people would be willing to pay for, then how to put that together, and then get it in front of those people willing to pay for it. And as a result, in 2011, I got ClickBank's Platinum Author designation. In order to get that, you've got to sell a lot of info products. And it's not just volume. Something like 0.1% of vendors reach that designation. Not only do you have to sell a lot of products, they have to be really good, because part of the calculation that ClickBank uses is number of refunds and number of support tickets issued. So not only do you have to sell a lot, but when people buy it, they have to be happy with it, because your returns have to be super low, your refunds have to be super low, your amount of support tickets have to be super low, and I was able to do that. Not only that, I was able to systematize the process so that I could repeat it reliably and get the same result over and over again. And as a result, I maintained my platinum author status in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. I had figured it out. That's how I got here. Now I'm going to tell you how you get there. This is a business of identifying needs, questions people have, problems they have, creating products that address those needs, in other words, the answer to the question, the solution to the problem, and then getting those things in front of the people with those needs. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right now. And it's easy, by the way. This is what you came for. This is hopefully what you're going to be able to take with you and actually achieve that internet freedom lifestyle. Let me ask you a question. Suppose you had a crystal ball, and that crystal ball told you exactly what people wanted. Not only what they wanted, but what they would be willing, even eager to pay for, right? So a crystal ball that you rub it and it says, here with certainty is what information people will pay you for. And let's suppose along with that crystal ball, you had a magic box. And what the magic box did was produce something that answered what you got from the crystal ball. So you could rub the crystal ball and learn anytime you wanted exactly, specifically, what people would eagerly pay money for. And you reached inside this magic box and poof, there it was, right? You'd be able to print money. You would have solved the problem. You would know what people will pay for, and you would be able to produce that by pulling it out of the magic box. That's exactly what building a successful info products business is. You develop product that people want to buy, which generates sales, lather, rinse, repeat. And I'm going to show you the details of how to do that, so pay attention. Put very simply, this is a business of identifying needs. That's the crystal ball part, figuring out what are the urgent questions, urgent problems, burning questions, pressing needs, right? Then developing information that addresses those needs and getting it in front of the people that have those questions, have those needs. Here's the process. In order to do that, we have to, A, come up with great product ideas and validate them, right? We don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to show you how you can accomplish the same thing, how you can know up front what people want so badly they're willing to pay for it and validate that that is so. Then how to develop the content, and again, I'm going to show you how to do that. You don't have to be a writer. You don't have to be a subject matter expert. And then we package it, put it all together, and make it ready to sell. When we talk about the Info-Biz or information products business, there's a bunch of different types of products which are really just formats. There's how-tos, tutorials, courses, could be text, audio, video, multimedia format, video and text or PDFs, etc. Single one-off products or multi-part products, memberships with ongoing information. To illustrate this, I'm going to walk you through the process of how you can do this over and over again, and we're going to start with what we call the short report. What is a short report? Short report is a type of information product. It's typically text. I'm sure most of you have bought short report information products. They're generally 10 to 30 or 40 pages long, and they typically sell between $5 and $25 or $30. Right? The process to do a short report is the same as whether we're doing a bigger, more expensive product, a multi-part product, as it is for a short report. Everything that goes into producing this can be used to produce bigger, more expensive products. So it makes sense to start here. And by the way, I can reel off the top of my head a dozen people that have built seven-figure businesses, as in multi-million-dollar businesses, just by producing short reports. And if you've spent any time on some of the internet marketing forums like 5-Star Affiliates or Warrior Forum, you would recognize the names. They're what a lot of people refer to as the gurus, guys that have built multi-million-dollar businesses doing nothing but producing and selling short reports. So the process to do that is you pick an idea, that's the crystal ball, develop the content, and make it available for sale. We start by brainstorming, right? Coming up with that idea, the crystal ball. So what makes a good info product? Obviously, a good info product is one that people are going to buy. There are some specific characteristics that all good info products have, at least the ones that are quick and easy and profitable. Either they solve an urgent problem, answer a burning question, or address a pressing need. And I'm going to show you some examples. So how do you come up with these ideas? How do you do that crystal ball thing? A, we look for what information people are already spending money on. You know, John Reese, who's one of the early success stories in the internet marketing space, generated millions and millions of dollars, launched a course called StomperNet that broke a record at the time. When it launched, on launch day, in 24 hours, he sold $18 million of memberships. The whole purpose of StomperNet was to tell you how to do this. Right? He used to say, if you want to know what sells, look at what people are buying. It sounds self-evident, but that's exactly what we do. I'm going to show you specifically how to do that. We can look at what people are asking for because people will tell us what they want. And of course, we can always ask people. You know, if we know somebody with a hobby or in a particular field or a subject matter expert. But I'm going to show you how to do this with 100% accuracy. What information are people already buying? That's one of the best ways to find out, right? How do we find that out? A couple of ways. Amazon bestsellers. And what I'm talking about are nonfiction, right? If a book, Kindle in particular, has a bestseller on Amazon, that means it's selling thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of copies. That tells us by definition people want to pay for that information. Right? We can go even further and read reviews of bestsellers where people will tell us specifically what they want. And I'm going to show you, we're actually going to walk through the process shortly. I can also look at the table of contents on a bestseller. Amazon lets you view the first few pages of all their books. I can look to see what are the topics in a bestseller that people are trying and wanting to pay for. There are other sites like that, magazines.com. They're the largest online retailer of magazine subscriptions. If something has made it to a glossy magazine, again, by definition, that means it's information a lot of people are and want to pay for. We can do the same thing with the ClickBank marketplace, where not only can we see what bestsellers are, but ClickBank will give us information like how recent it's been selling, how many affiliates are having success selling it, a lot of information that will tell us, if we know how to read it, hey, here's something people will pay for. If you do this or something like it, you know before you even start that there are people willing and eager to pay for it. One of the all-time great resources for info products is the Dummies series. You know, golf for dummies, SAT score, high scores for dummies, how to do this for dummies, how to do that for dummies. If it's made it into a dummies book, there's an enormous number of people desperate for that information, or they never would have published the book. They do a lot of market research before they publish those. I can go on Amazon, pull up a dummies book, use that tip to look at the table of contents, and in any dummies book, every listing in the table of contents would make an ideal short report that I know before I even start, people will pay for. And by the way, I'm going to walk you through what this looks like very shortly. So I know this is a lot of information to assimilate. I'm actually going to show you. We're actually going to go through the process so you can see what it looks like and how to do it. So brainstorming, that's the crystal ball, figuring out what people want to buy. And we have methods that literally duplicate that crystal ball, that tell us with certainty, hey, people want to buy this information. If you produce this information, you're guaranteed there are people who will buy it. Once, where are people, I'm sorry, more ways to understand that. Where are people asking questions? On Google. We all know if we start typing in something in Google, it guesses at what we want to ask. That's Google's suggest engine. And all that is Google pulling up the most frequently asked questions that start with whatever we're typing in. So if I start typing in list of problems in, Google will show me the most 5 or 10 frequently asked questions like that. If it makes it to Google Suggest, that means there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people asking that question. What better indicator of what information people want than Google telling us, hey, here's what people are most frequently asking. I'm going to show you how to do that. There's even a website, Uber Suggest, that scrapes Google and fills in partial answers to see what Google Suggest will be by going through the alphabet. So I can type in how do I, and Uber Suggest will tell me every Google Suggest answer that starts with how do I and then the letter A, how do I and then the letter B, how do I and then the letter C, right? And will give me that in a split second, hundreds of questions that are the most frequently searched, the things people are actually trying to answer, handed to me. Websites like Reddit and Quora, where people ask questions and they're voted on. Other people who go to the site upvote or downvote the questions. There's a section on Reddit called Ask Reddit, right, where anybody can ask anything, and almost as an evolutionary process, people vote on it, making the most important, significant questions rise to the top, sometimes with thousands of votes, meaning somebody poses a question, it rises to the top because thousands of people also want that answer. Guess what? Everything listed that's been upvoted on Ask Reddit is a certain success as a short report. Ask the questions yourself. What better way to find out? Go to a forum for a particular niche or topic and ask the question. You can do the same thing with groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, or people that are involved in a particular niche or topic. And here's what I mean by that, like a forum. Do you imagine if you go to a forum on cooking and pose a question that says, hey, I'm trying to, feed my family on a budget, blah, blah, blah. What are the things that other people are finding in how to create budget meals? Or, hey, I'm trying to do this. What are other people encountering? So for a forum where everybody there has that interest, they will tell you, hey, here's what we know, here's what we still want to know, here's what we're trying to answer. They'll hand you the answer to what a short report would look like that they would want to buy. And I'm rushing through these because I want to show you the actual walkthrough of how to do this. So we figure out what people want. Now we have to develop the content. 3 ways to do that. We can write it, we can curate it, or we can acquire it. What does that actually mean? Writing it, just what it sounds like, write it. But unfortunately, that's what pushes a lot of people away because we don't want to write. It's work. Or we don't feel we're good writers, or it takes us a long time, or we don't think we know enough about something to write a report that people would want to buy. In some cases, however, people do, and they do want to write it. There are ways to expedite that. If you're writing it yourself, you can dictate, right? You can use something like Dragon Naturally Speaking, which lets you talk and turns it into text. Or use a transcription service. iDictate.com gives you an 800 number you can dial up and you just talk. It gets recorded, and the next day they send you a text file. So you can just speak and turn that into writing. You can do the same thing on Fiverr. There are people on Fiverr who will take an audio file, you could just record, and turn it into text for you. Not very exciting, a lot of work, but that's one way to do it. Curating, however, is one of the best ways to do it, and I'm about to show you 2 killer methods using curation and acquiring. Curating, by the way, is just gathering information that's already out there, other people's information, and compiling it. Acquiring it means taking stuff that's out there that we're either able to use, we have the rights to, or that we pay to use. What does that mean? We can outsource, right? If I know because I went on a forum and I found out that people in this niche are desperate to answer this question, I can go to a freelance site and for a few bucks pay somebody that knows the topic to write a short report. That's acquiring the content. Or I can look in the public domain where there's an enormous amount of information that I can use, that I have the rights to use, and then sell. And by the way, almost any question out there that people are willing to pay for that information, I can find in the public domain content that I can put together and sell, that I have the rights to, that people will want to buy. And I'm going to show you some specific examples of that. So now we're going to do some walkthroughs. We're going to get to 2 amazingly effective methods. These are what you can walk away from this webinar with and start making money immediately, having absorbed all that background information we just went over. And we're going to do this by way of example. I'm going to show you successful products that I did and how I did it and how you could do it too. We're going to start with method 1, the resource guide. What is the resource guide? Let's go through an example. Ayurvedic diet. That doesn't mean anything to most of you. It didn't mean anything to me. However, being in the info products business, about 2 years ago, the term came across my radar. I forget what I was doing, but I heard the term and it caught my attention because I didn't know what it was. So I Googled it. And what came up, among other things, the very top of Google, a Dr. Oz episode on Ayurvedic diet. For those of you that aren't familiar, Dr. Oz is a very, very popular show in the U.S. He's a doctor that does a talk show on popular health and wellness issues. He's kind of like the Oprah of the health and wellness set. If it's made it to a Dr. Oz show, that means a ton of people are interested or are about to be interested because they saw it on Dr. Oz. So I started doing some more research. I learned that Ayurveda is an ancient philosophy of health and wellness. It's a system of eating and how the body works and how to achieve health and wellness. And in fact, millions and millions and millions of people follow it. That's the guidelines they use for how to live a healthy life. Primarily in the East, it's big in India and other Eastern countries. If you're in the U.S., you probably haven't heard much of it. So this term came across my radar, and I thought, man, that was just on Dr. Oz. There's going to be a lot of people Googling it and wanting more information. So I got online using the curating method. I found resources for Ayurvedic recipes, Ayurvedic diets, basic explanations of the different facets of Ayurveda, and I put them together in a guidebook. I titled it Ayurvedic Living. And all it was information I was able to find by spending a few hours in Google, put it together. All it is resources that I found online. Recipes, explanations, links to things that you could click on to answer questions, to get more information, to find out about the foods, how to prepare them, where to buy them, etc. And I called it the Ayurvedic Living Cookbook. It sold for $17. I put up a little 3-page website that simply mentioned Ayurveda and Ayurvedic living because it was a trending term. A lot of people were starting to search for it. People found it because of that. I sold a few hundred copies for $17 a piece, and then ended up selling the whole package, the website and the rights to the book, to somebody for $8,000 as a business. So that one info product alone earned me close to $12,000 just because I came across this term and recognized it as something people were going to be very interested in and would be willing to pay money for. And by the way, let me hop out here and show you what that looks like. I'm going to pull up Microsoft Word and pull up the Ayurvedic Living Cookbook. This is the actual Word document that I created. Right? It has some pictures. It has some recipes. It has some explanations about what these things are, and links pointing to more information I found online. I then saved it off as a PDF, created an ebook cover, put it up on a website with a PayPal buy button, and bang, this one effort alone earned me 5 figures in revenue. You can use this same method to produce an unlimited number of info products that people will eagerly pay for. I'll give you some actual examples, okay? I showed you the Ayurvedic Living Cookbook. I produced something called the Starving Writer's Guide to Paid Gigs. In doing some of my brainstorming, just the way I showed you, going on Google and looking to see what questions people were asking, poking around at some forums, I learned that there's an entire community of people who want to be paid writers, people who like to write either creatively or otherwise. It's not their job because they don't know how to go about getting paid to do it. They don't know how to break into the business or think even that it's possible. I did some research and I found hundreds of links to places that pay for writing, where you could just submit stuff. Poems, greeting card companies, sites that pay for reviews of things, freelance sites where you could just sign up as a provider and hundreds of people post requests. Hey, I need this written, I need that written, right? So I was able to accumulate hundreds of resources where someone could get paid to write. Now, if you're one of those guys that wants to be a writer, wants to get paid for it, doesn't know how to go about doing it, doesn't know where, right, is a book entitled Starving Writer's Guide to Paid Gigs that promises hundreds of listings of places that will pay you for writing. Is that worth 15 or 20 or 25 bucks to you? You bet it is. How do I know that? Because hundreds of people bought it. How did I know they would? Because I used my crystal ball. I looked up information that people were desperate for. Remember, burning questions, pressing needs, urgent problems, right? A pressing need, there's a whole bunch of people who have a pressing need to get paid for writing and don't know how to go about doing it. And this info product answered that. They wanted to buy it, they did buy it. I did something similar entitled The Ultimate Home Office Guide to Free Resources. If you're self-employed, a small business, you have a home office, maybe you're a contractor or a professional, you have a small business, sometimes it's just you, maybe you have one or a couple of employees, right? You work out of your home. There are things you need to run that business that have nothing to do with the core business. Suppose you're a contractor or anything. You do some profession. Well, you still need to fax documents. You still need to back up your computer. You still need to do your taxes and keep your books, do basic accounting. Those things cost money. And if you're a small business or a home office, the last thing you want to do is spend any more money than necessary on stuff you rarely use. Maybe once a week or once a month, you might have to fax a receipt or a quote, et cetera, et cetera. Well, guess what? All of that stuff is available online for free. There are resources online, a dozen places that you can send a fax for free online just by uploading the document you want to fax. There are professional grade bookkeeping and accounting services online that are free. There are cloud backup and antivirus and every other resource that a small or home office would need that are available for free. By putting together those resources into a short report format, a guide, and making it available, if you're that small office guy, the home office guy, and you realize, oh man, this guy wants me to fax over a quote, I got to go to Staples and spend 200 bucks on a fax machine, or hey, look at this, I could spend 20 bucks on this guide that promises to show me how to fax without even having to leave my desk. And it also has a basic bookkeeping facility online. I don't need to download anything, and it's free. And it also has this, and it also has that. And it's only 20 bucks. Let's see, $200 fax machine or a $20 resource guide. Small business, home office, which sounds more attractive to you? The answer is obvious, right? This is just using that resource guide method, essentially finding out various things people need, information that is a pressing need, an urgent problem, or a burning question, finding those resources online, compiling them into a short report, and making it available. And guess what? You can build a 5, 6, or 7-figure business just by doing that. That's amazingly effective method 1, and there's an unlimited number of topics and niches and types and questions you can answer, and you could do this forever and never come close to running out of ways to do this that work. Let's look at a second amazingly effective method. I call it the government PD report, or the government public domain report. I'm going to get through this one, and then I'm going to walk you through what that looked like. Some of you may remember a few years ago in North America, I guess it was worldwide, the gas shortage. Right? Gas prices began to skyrocket. This is around 2007, 2008. They went from $1 something a gallon up to and past $5 a gallon. And guess what? If you commuted to work or just your normal day-to-day, driving, picking up the kids, going shopping, etc., all of a sudden that mattered. Because where you used to spend $10 or $15 filling up your tank now costs $30 and $40 and $50, and all of a sudden it was an urgent problem and a pressing need. Right? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're on a fixed income, or even if you have plenty of money, and all of a sudden you've got to come out of pocket with an extra $50 or $100 a month, that's significant. And it kept going up with no sign that it was going to go down. Well, I was able to find government public domain information, including vehicle comparison reports, which cars and trucks had better or worse gas mileage, a hybrid car buyer's guide. This is when hybrids became really popular all of a sudden because of the price of gas. A guide on things anybody can do to reduce their gas consumption by $10, $20, $30, $40 a month. Even a gas price and gas savings calculator where you can put in your mileage, when you filled up, how much it cost, and it would tell you, is it worth going across town because the price of gas is 17 cents a gallon cheaper there, and it would keep track of how much you were spending and what your gas mileage was. And all of that was U.S. federal government information that was in the public domain. What does that mean? It means I was entitled to use it for any purpose, including commercial purposes. In other words, I can take it, stitch it together, slap my name on it, and sell it. And that's exactly what I did. I created a product, an info product called Ultimate Gas Savers Guide. In it, it had those things I just pointed to. It had comparison reports of 5 years worth of every make and model of car to see which were more and less economic. It had a hybrid car buyer's guide which explained hybrids, told you which were the best ones, how much you could expect it to save you. It had this big report on things you could do to improve your gas mileage and lower your spending. Things like inflating your tire pressure. Did you know if you inflate your tires, you can get up to 10% better mileage? That if at a stoplight, instead of stopping and staying in drive, you shift into neutral and you drive 10 hours a month, that can save you an extra 2 or 3 gallons of gas, which translates to 10 or 15 bucks a month, et cetera, et cetera. And I was able to put that all together and offer it as a product. And guess what? Not only did it sell a ton, at the time, any words like gas mileage, improve gas mileage, save money on gas were hot searches. So I created a blog called Ultimate Gas Savers. It rose to the top of Google because it was a heavily searched topic. On that blog, you could buy this Ultimate Gas Saver Guide, which, by the way, was $47, and that's in 2008. But it promised to help you cut your spending in gas, and that in one tankful, it would pay for the product. Right? Put up that blog, put the product up there. It sold thousands of dollars worth. And towards the end of 2008, again, I sold the whole thing as a business, the blog plus the product and the rights to it for $23,000. Net on that project was over $30,000. Just because I was able to determine, my crystal ball, what are people wanting to, information they're wanting to pay for it? Well, guess what? If I can figure out how to save money on gas, oh yes, a lot of people would be willing to pay for that. And then find that information for free online as public domain information, stitch it together as a product. Amazingly effective method. Whoops, am I going the right way? Yes. Some similar examples. Guide to more effective homeschooling. In the U.S., homeschooling is a big deal. There's a lot of people. There are millions of homeschool kids in the U.S. The way homeschooling works is parents or teachers who come in school the kids at their home. Now, this is a legal requirement. If you're a parent, you have to send your kids to school, and they have to take certain tests and pass certain tests to advance, and it's a legal requirement. And there are millions of parents who decide to homeschool their kids. Well, guess what? The federal government has an enormous amount of public domain information on homeschooling. Statistics, course materials, guides, how-tos, activities. I was able to put together this information that's in the public domain, meaning it's free to use even for commercial purposes, and post on some homeschooling forums a link to this guide to more effective homeschooling. Hundreds of parents bought it. Same thing with heart-healthy meals that are easy and taste good. In doing my crystal ball, which is just poking around and doing things like looking at Google Suggest, looking at forums and what people are talking about, going to sites like Ask Reddit, found out that there are a lot of people for whom heart health has all of a sudden become a burning question and a pressing need, an urgent problem to be solved. Maybe their spouse had a checkup and found they had heart issues, or they had a heart attack, or are worried about it, and all of a sudden the notion of feeding their family heart-healthy meals, or at least their spouse, is a big deal. It's an urgent problem with a pressing need. The U.S. federal government has a ton of really high-quality information that you can grab and use for commercial purposes. I was able to narrow down what people were looking for, what information they wanted, by going to Amazon, seeing what the best sellers in that category were, and then reading the reviews. Heart-healthy cookbooks, the biggest complaint was the meals are either hard to put together or they taste like crap. So that told me, they essentially said, hey, we're already buying cookbooks to learn how to cook heart-healthy meals, but we have a complaint. They're hard to do or they taste bad. That tells me with certainty they're asking, hey, give me something that shows me how to cook heart-healthy meals that aren't hard to make and don't taste like crap, and I'll buy it in a heartbeat. No pun intended. And I did that, and I found that to be so. Sold hundreds and hundreds of them. So let me show you one more example. Two more examples. Before it's too late, Parents' Guide to Bullying. In the U.S., for whatever reason, and elsewhere I believe, bullying in the last couple of years has become a kind of hot button topic. There have been some unfortunate stories in the news, very tragic stories of some kids taking their own lives behind being bullied. Right? And it's kind of risen in the public consciousness, this whole notion of bullying and being bullied and what to do about it and how to deal with it, and the fact that it's potentially a very, very tragic and possibly fatal situation. I was able to find online in the public domain, care of the U.S. government, a ton of information. I'm going to show it to you, by the way, in a moment. This is the last example, and then I'm going to show you. To be able to put together a guide, a short report, on how to recognize bullying, how to identify it, if your kids are going through it, what the telltale signs are, what to do about it, how to talk to your kids about it, how to talk to other caregivers, teachers, counselors, etc., and a raft of resources online like support groups and materials, etc. Put them together in a short report which, based on my crystal ball, finding out what people are asking, titled, Before It's Too Late, Parent's Guide to Bullying. What parent wouldn't want that? Very few. A lot of them bought it. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay. Here, by the way, we're on Wikipedia, a listing of federal agencies in the U.S. By definition, almost everything the U.S. federal government produces is in the public domain. The federal government can't hold copyright. The federal government is we the people, right? The people own the copyright, own the rights to anything the federal government produces. There are a few exceptions, classified information, defense-related, et cetera, but for the most part, all of these agencies produce a ton of information which is free to use even for commercial purposes. There are even sites that will take you right to all the information that these agencies have. And we're running late, so I don't want to drill down too far, but I can keep going and find enormous amounts of information. You remember that gas savers guide? Here's a website, if it comes up, it went somewhere, called fueleconomy.gov. It's a federal government site, if it comes up. Not sure why it's not. There we go. Federal government site on how to improve fuel economy. Among the things you'll notice under calculators and tools, here is a fuel saving calculator. Here are comparison reports for fuel economy. Here's that hybrid buyer's guide. That's all the information that I put together in the Ultimate Gas Savers Guide. It's free for me to take and use. And there are dozens of agencies and literally hundreds of departments covering every topic. Federal Trade Commission, all things consumer related, Health and Human Services, the CDC, National Institutes of Health, National Library of Medicine, et cetera, et cetera. There is information on every conceivable topic, and guess what? The government spends our money well. They produce some really good information, high quality content, graphics, etc., and most of it is free to use even for commercial purposes. So I don't need to be a writer. I don't need to know how to write. I don't need to pay somebody to write it. All I have to do is go through some of those brainstorming crystal ball exercises to see what information are people really eager for, search out that information in the public domain, put it together as a report, and I'm in business. Lather, rinse, repeat. I can do that over and over and over again. There's a couple more examples that I want to show you, but we are running late, so I want to get through a few more things. In this process, by the way, particularly doing the resource guide and the government public domain report method, I became something of an expert on both of those topics. And so I put together something that combines both of them, called Public Domain Treasures. It's a resource guide with links to public domain resources online. If you're in a business or a position where you need content on any topic, this thing is invaluable. I'm going to jump back to Microsoft Word, and I'm going to show you the Word document. Here we go. This is the Microsoft Word document that I created for public domain treasures. What it has is information that I found online. This is a listing 50 ways to use public domain content in your business that I was able to copy. I had the rights to copy. And basically it's a whole host of things you can do with public domain. I found another article that I had the rights to use, 10 common mistakes in using public domain. And then the rest of it are links to public domain resources across every imaginable topic, not just federal government, tons of public domain books, maps, text, audio, video, you name it. There's public domain content. So I was able to combine those two methods and create a really worthwhile guide. This is a current product of mine that sells every day. It sells for $27, sells every day. It's on ClickBank. And by the way, this is the free gift I'm giving you for being on this masterclass and taking an hour of your time to spend with me. So in a few slides, when we get to the end, I'm going to give you a link where you can download this with my compliments. And by the way, that right there is enough for you to build a 5 or 6 figure business on. You do some brainstorming, that crystal ball, to learn what people want to know, and I guarantee you can find all the content to produce an info product in this public domain treasures guide. So very shortly, I'm going to give you the link to that, and that is my free gift to you. Okay, I could spend hours and hours citing example after example of this stuff, but I want to talk to you about how you can take what we've learned, put it to work for you, and even how you can fast track your success. Right. Now, look, it took me years to really optimize and perfect my info products business. But as a result, it's staggeringly profitable and can actually deliver that internet marketing lifestyle freedom dream, right? You could take what you learned here today and easily build a 5 or 6 figure business just even using those two methods, resource reports and government public domain reports. They work, and I hope you will take that information and put it to good use. If you really want to succeed, I can make it even easier and help you leapfrog a lot of the learning curve and effort. Suppose I could guarantee your success. Right? Suppose I could tell you, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, I guarantee you will succeed. And that it wasn't just words, that there was something behind that, right? Suppose I would lay out all of our tactics, strategies, methods, and resources that we've learned and used and optimized to where they are reliably repeatable. Gave you a step-by-step blueprint to follow to actually do all these things. Gave you how-tos for each step and method so that you knew specifically how to go about doing the brainstorming and the collating and the sales and marketing and the scaling your business and developing these reports and where to list them, etc. And I worked with you directly one-on-one to make sure that you made forward progress and succeeded, essentially guaranteeing your success. If I could provide you with everything you need to succeed, step-by-step instruction, all the resources necessary, ongoing training, personal help and support, right? You could leapfrog a whole lot of time and effort and absolutely succeed. That's what Info-Biz Academy is. It's an offering that we put together which does exactly that. Very quickly, very briefly. It's an online course with materials and resources, in-depth case studies, weekly ongoing live training, and a private Facebook mastermind group for sharing information, asking questions, getting answers, etc. The course itself, the online component, has 9 modules. An overview and roadmap of the business, a blueprint for your info products business, how to create the products, how to market and sell them, how to scale and grow your business, in-depth case studies, tech tutorials or how-tos on everything that needs to be done, an enormous cache of resources to do all of these things, and archives of all the training that's gone on before. Right? It has one singular purpose: to show you how and help make sure you can create a profitable, sustainable, long-term online business. And we do it by showing you how to duplicate our already successful business. In addition to the online component, we do weekly live training sessions. And all of the training is archived so it can be gotten to at any time. There's also a Facebook mastermind group where you get direct access to me, other people. One of the things I've learned over a lot of years of doing this is one of the surest ways to enhance my success is to be able to bounce ideas off other people, ask questions, find out how other people are handling things, share success stories as well as failures. You know, we learn from other people's mistakes and other failures. So we have a private mastermind group where we do just that. We share tactics and strategies, ask questions, review and critique the products we develop to make sure they're up to snuff and end up looking and functioning well, and share our victories. Right. Info-Biz Academy launches in a few days, April 1st. When it launches, it's priced at $495 plus $37 a month for the ongoing training. This is the last webinar like this we're doing, the last time we're going to be doing this. If you're on today, you have a final chance, we're not offering it after this, to get the whole kit and caboodle for $149. That's the online course, everything that comes with it, the private mastermind group, and lifetime access to the weekly training. $149. A ridiculous offer. Again, that includes the online course, live training, mastermind, and one additional special offer. If you're on the call today and you act today, we're going to include with that 2 one-on-one Skype sessions with me that you can use at any time for any purpose. That's you and me going over whatever you want to go over. That has nothing to do with the mastermind group that I participate in, so you always have access to me. This is 2 private sessions, which, by the way, I don't even do anymore. When I used to do one-on-one consulting, I charged a lot for it. And I stopped doing it because it ate up a lot of my time, and frankly, nobody could pay me for one-on-one time as much as my time is worth to me. So if you jump on this today, I can only do so many of these because I only have so much time. We'll include the 2 one-on-one Skype sessions, which you can use at any time for any purpose. How do you get all this? infobizacademy.net/yes. Don't go to infobizacademy.net without that /yes because it'll cost you $495 plus $37 a month. If you go to infobizacademy.net/yes, you'll get the whole thing, including lifetime access, for $149. In about 2 more days, it goes up to $495, and there are no special offers. and you'll pay monthly for the ongoing live training. This is an extraordinary deal. Look, I believe I can guarantee your success. If you're willing to put in the effort, I will do everything necessary to make sure you succeed. This is selling through ClickBank, which means you have a guaranteed 60-day window to get your money back if you're not happy with it. Guaranteed, no questions asked. You don't have to do anything. I don't have to agree to it. You can get a full refund through ClickBank for 60 days for anything you purchase, so you get a 60-day guarantee. On top of that, I will guarantee your success. I will work with you as long as you're willing to put in the effort to make sure you succeed. So if you were looking for that means to do this internet marketing thing that actually works, that isn't based on loopholes or scheming or scamming, that works today and will work tomorrow, with somebody that's successful in it who will help you and mentor you, there is no better opportunity, and the price is ridiculous. Right? $149, you get the whole thing. And by the way, before I forget, in addition, where is it? Where is it? There we go. If you go to infobizacademy.net/pdt.zip, PDT is public domain treasures.zip. That's where you can download my public domain treasures info product, yours as a gift for free. Right? So infobizacademy.net/yes will get you the $149 lifetime offer, excuse me, which includes everything, excuse me, as well as the 2 one-on-one sessions with me that you could use anytime for anything. But those 2 Skype sessions, oh, excuse me, only come with the deal if you order today. And then that's shut down because I already have a few and I can't do that many more. So if that's worth something to you to spend one-on-one time with me for anything and to be used at any time, you'll get that, but that's a one-shot deal. If you don't get it today, that's gone. The $149 offer on April 1st, that goes up to $495 one-time payment plus $37 a month for the ongoing training. I'm going to open it up for Q&A, but let me show you real quick what that looks like, what Info-Biz Academy looks like. If I could jump out to my browser real quick. This, by the way, is the where you go to infobizacademy.net. If you'll notice at the bottom, the pricing is $495 plus $37 a month. If you go to infobizacademy.net/yes, and please don't share this link, you'll pay $149 lifetime. You just click on it, it goes to ClickBank for payment. You get a full 60 days, no questions asked, refund policy from ClickBank. You also get my personal guarantee that if you are willing to put in the effort, I will guarantee your success. I will do whatever is necessary in working with you to help you succeed. Why? Because this is the model that works, and we know how to do it. If you're willing to put in the effort, the what and the how are done, right? All you need to do is add the effort. If you're willing to do that, I'm willing to guarantee your success. When you buy in, you get access to the online course. This is what it looks like. I'm going to log myself in, and then we're going to go to questions, by the way. This is the members homepage. You'll notice along the top here, it shows next group call, which is Thursday, 2 days from now, is our next live training session. They happen every week. You'll notice we're constantly updating, adding information, adding resources, making things better and better. These are the 9 modules: overview, the business, the products, sales and marketing, going further, case studies, tech, which are the tutorials, resources, and archives. If I go to archives, you'll see we already have some of the training videos. We actually did pre-launch a couple of weeks ago, so we already have some of the live training sessions up here available as replays. So that's what the course, the online course looks like. But again, in addition to that is the Facebook mastermind group. So with that, I want to try to take some of your questions. There's a whole bunch of them, and I don't know if we're going to get to all of them. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. You've been very patient, and I appreciate the time. One question that jumped out from Herb, I've joined, but I'm unable to log in. Unfortunately, the way ClickBank does it, it's easy to miss. Herb, and anyone else who bought in, there was a green button on there, it's easy to miss, that generates your login information, your login ID and password, and I do know that that's easy to miss. So once I get done with the webinar, Herb, and anyone else who has bought in, I will make sure to get you your login. So I apologize for that. There was a button, that's a ClickBank page that comes up once you've purchased. It's easy to miss. Fear not, Herb, and I see a few other people with the same thing. I will get you your login info. Okay, there's a question here. There's a few people that asked it. Leslie, is your sales model dependent on AdWords? Absolutely not. I don't even do AdWords anymore, and I was a Google AdWords certified professional, meaning I had a $100,000 a month AdWords spend, this is a few years ago, and passed a certification that Google gives to get their accreditation that allows you to then manage other people's AdWords accounts and train people on AdWords. In other words, I did a lot with AdWords. I even wrote a course on it. AdWords is wonderful, but you know what? It's not necessary. Could I sell my info products with paid ads? Absolutely. Do I need to do that to achieve 5, 6, 7 figures? No way. No way. Now, there's different schools of thought. Some people in the business who will say, well, paid traffic, paid advertising, you can control your sales, you can scale it. All that's true. But you know what? I would rather spend my time brainstorming, which I really enjoy doing. It's a lot of fun. And then putting together great products, even though I don't write them, I enjoy the process of finding resources, public domain, other available content, acquiring it, curating it, etc. I would rather spend my time doing that because I can get all the sales I need without having to spend a penny on advertising, and it's been probably a year since I've spent even a dime advertising any of my info products, and they've all done well. So no, it's not dependent on AdWords or any paid advertising. Good question, Leslie. There's a question that a few of you have asked here that I want to make sure to answer. I always get this in various forms, and the question is two-part: how much will I make and how long will it take to make it? Yes. Arthur, Sharon, Paul, Dave, Rob, Mohammed, there's a couple others that have asked variations of that question. How much, you know, if I buy into this thing, sounds good. If I buy it, how much will I make and how long will it take me to make it? And unfortunately, there's no good, hard, and fast answers to that question. Anyone who tells you otherwise for anything like this is full of you-know-what. The reason is it depends on how much time and effort you can put in. What I can tell you is that there is no ceiling, there's no limit to what you can make, and how long it takes to start making money. Let me try to frame that. I've showed you some of the products we've developed. I'll give you an example, the Ayurvedic diet cookbook. Ayurvedic living cookbook. That took me about half a day to put together. That's not including the brainstorming. I came across this topic And I recognized it as something that was going to be trending, that a lot of people were going to be eager about because it was on this Dr. Oz show and it was recent. And I realized I was also able to use some online tools, which we teach you about in Info-Biz Academy, that give me things like search volume. So I can learn just how many people are searching for that information, like quantify it. Right? So that time aside, it took me significantly less than a day to pull together the content for that product. Right? Now, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm pretty adept at it. I'm not suggesting that someone just starting to learn how to do these things would do it in half a day. But even if you're just learning, even if you've never done it before and just follow our instruction, it wouldn't take you more than a couple of days of spending time on Google and putting, grabbing links and summaries and pasting them into a word processing document and saving the whole thing off as a PDF. So producing the products takes very little time once you know what you want to produce, and the knowing what you want to produce part, the brainstorming part, can take as long or as short as you like. I'll tell you this. I used to have a whiteboard in my home office I called my opportunities board. Because this is what I do for a living. I'm online pretty much every day. And I frequently come across things that strike me as a potential opportunity. And if I were to stop and investigate and pursue every one when it came across my radar, I'd never get anything done. So I would put them down on a whiteboard that I call my opportunities board. Be it a phrase, a niche, a question, it would have been something like this Ayurvedic diet when it came across my radar, would have went up on my opportunities board. And then periodically, once every few days, once a week, once every 2 weeks, I would go through that list and spend a few minutes validating the idea, checking to see what the search volume was, maybe pulling up a few forums and asking people, is this something you're interested in? Checking out Amazon bestsellers, reading some of the reviews to find out, is this, right? In other words, validating these opportunities. Some of them would get crossed off as something that sounded good but didn't actually validate, and we show you how to do that. And some of them would then graduate to being opportunities worth pursuing. So I would have a running list whenever I wanted to shift into that mode of producing a new product. I would have a list of things that I already knew were good opportunities, and then I could spend half a day, or a few days putting together the actual product. Once you know how to do that, the putting it together, even when you're first learning how to do it, shouldn't take more than a few days. So realistically, and I mean realistically, once you understand the process, it really shouldn't take you more than a week to brainstorm and research an idea, validate it, assemble the content, and I'm not talking about writing it yourself, put it together in a document, pretty it up a little, and there are resources that will help you with that or that will do that for you, saving it off as a PDF, and bang, you have a saleable product. It then takes no time at all to either list it on ClickBank or use one of the free websites like Wix or Weebly or Blogger to create a one-page website, basically an ad saying, here's this product, here's the question it answers, here's how it answers it, and a PayPal buy button or a ClickBank buy button. Or use one of the online marketplaces to sell it. Did you know you can sell all these info products on Amazon Kindle just by creating a PDF? You can take your info product and make it available on Kindle. And by the way, when I mentioned early on about a number of people who've built seven-figure businesses doing short reports, mostly through ClickBank and Amazon. If you research in a hot topic, and by that I mean one with a lot of traffic, and all the examples we mentioned would qualify that as that. Create your product, turn it into a PDF, and upload it to Amazon as a Kindle, Amazon will sell it for you, and then they'll pay you. They'll take the payments, do the payment processing. All you have to do is upload your product and create a description, and Amazon will sell it for you. So how long does it take, and how much can you make? It doesn't take long, and you can make a lot. I know that's not a very satisfying answer, but it's an honest answer. All right, let's take a couple of more questions. How many other ClickBank marketers market your Ayurvedic diet? From Martin. Good question, Martin. One of the things we didn't mention, which we go into in great depth and detail in the course, is sales and marketing and growing your business by having other people sell your product, namely affiliates. Right? ClickBank is an affiliate marketplace. By putting your product up for sale in ClickBank, not only does it become available for sale if somebody wanted to buy it, but affiliates, internet marketers who work in that topic or that niche, will sell it for you. Martin's question was, how many other ClickBank marketers market your Ayurvedic diet? I actually sold that whole thing as a business. So the product and the web page, etc., I sold that as a whole bundle as a business to somebody for $8,000. Prior to that, I wasn't selling it through ClickBank. Remember that I put it together very quickly based on seeing this phrase and topic trending. And just on the strength of that, I put together a 3-page website. It started to get a lot of free traffic from Google just because people were searching for the terms Ayurveda, Ayurvedic diet, Ayurvedic cooking, and people showed up. I had a simple PayPal button on the site where somebody could pay and then download the file, and so it never made it to ClickBank. That said, I've had close to a dozen ClickBank bestsellers for which I've had hundreds of affiliates marketing the products. You know, some niches, topics, categories have more affiliates, some have less, but there's no topic that doesn't have affiliates. And so a large or a significant strategy we pursue, and we teach you how to do this, in growing your business is to leverage affiliates, is to learn how to identify and approach the people in that niche who are getting in front of people, who are selling to those people, affiliates, right? So we show you how to do that, and that's a very significant and lucrative part of the business. Chris is asking, will there be a replay? Don't repeat it. Yes, there will. The reason I say don't repeat it is because the offer that I made won't hold indefinitely, right? So as part of the webinar, there's an offer not only for the $149, but for the 2 Skype sessions if you bought today. Obviously, somebody's going to watch the replay. It isn't going to be right now, and so those things will not necessarily be enforced. But yes, there will be a replay, and I will send a link out to everyone who showed up here today. Wow. Steve asked, are there any other startup costs? You know, actually, no, there aren't. Now, there are some incidentals that you may want to invest in, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. When I did Ayurvedic Living Cookbook, I bought a domain, right? Rather than use one of the free websites, I created its own website, and I think I spent $9 on the domain, and I happen to have dedicated server for hosting, but you can get a hosting account for a couple of bucks, you know, $5 or $10 a month. So a domain and hosting is recommended, but that's really a very small amount, and there really aren't any other costs. One of the things we go over, and this is the benefit of having been doing this for a long time and optimized our business, are e-covers. We don't pay for those. There's services, free services online where I can simply upload a picture and turn it into a 3D e-cover. Beautiful, you know, professional, etc. There are ways that I can get all the things done that I need done without having to pay, and there really isn't anything I have to pay for. As long as I have access to email where I can, where somebody can email me, I can email affiliates or get to ClickBank. Now, I will say, before I forget, because we're doing the honest and upfront thing, if you want to put your product on ClickBank, and you definitely do, the first time you do that, there's a $50 charge, right? In other words, you can get a ClickBank account for free. It costs nothing. But if you want to list a product in the ClickBank marketplace, which you will want to do, there's a one-time fee of $50. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you can do that out of your profits. You don't need to do that up front. I mean, look, whatever you produce, a short report, you don't need to sell more than 2 or 3 of them to be able to pay that $50 ClickBank listing. And, you know, it would almost be impossible not to sell a few of almost anything. As long as you've chosen something that people want and then get it in front of those people, some people will buy. One of the things we spend a lot of time in understanding and learning and going over with the both one-on-one and in the training is how to optimize that, not just come up with something that some people will want, but to drill down to find the things that a significant group really, really want. In which case, all you have to do is get it in front of them. You can do that as easily as finding a forum where that topic is discussed. And in fact, I'll jump out here. One of the examples I meant to show, but we ran out of time, is called The Biggest Boards. Let's see, here we go. This is thebiggestboards.com. This is a list of forums, right? You may not be able to see it because it would be small, but the figures are number of members and number of posts. Number of members are millions, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Ditto for the posts, right? Look at all these. And this is page 1 of 50. So there's something like 1,000 forums listed here covering every conceivable topic. Whatever info product I produce, I can find a forum that talks about that topic. Join the forum, put a link to the product in my signature, in my forum signature, make a few posts each day, and it would almost be impossible not to sell some, right? Certainly enough to pay for putting the product in ClickBank. And in some cases, that's really all you need to do is just get it in front of some people in the forum. They'll share that link. The posts stay. You may get enough volume that that's all that's necessary. When I did the Starving Writer's Guide to Paid Gigs, all I did was post in forums of creative writers and you know, professional writer wannabes and some writing forums. That's all I did. And it sold hundreds of copies. Let me see if I can get to just a couple more questions. I appreciate the time for all of you, especially those of you, wow, a big portion are still on. I really appreciate the time, your time. Wow, okay. Paid traffic. Rob is saying pdt.zip is not working. A few people have downloaded. Is anyone else having that problem? Rob, if you would let me know that. Let me see if I can put this here kind of live as we're going. If you would email me, let's see, I'm going to put my email here. Can I do this and you'll see it? Let's see if that shows up there. There we go. Mike at infobizacademy.net. If you'll email me, I will send you either as an attachment or another link. But it doesn't look like other people are having that problem. How many products have you created and have all brought in some sort of income? Over 100. And that's two people have that question, Sharon and Steve. Well over 100. I long since lost count. Oh, and somebody's writing, PDT must be in caps. Thanks. Yes, it's PDT in caps.zip. I'm sorry for the confusion. Yeah, so if you type it in, thank you, Lorna, exactly as you see it there, it should work. All right, we'll take, wow, we ran later than expected. Oh, I did want to do a shout out. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for the people who are here on Laura's invitation. I did want to make sure to say thanks. I know as well there are some people here from 100K Blueprint and 100K Results. 100K Results is a training membership that I did for 3 years, of which this is an outgrowth. So we've done this sort of training for a long time with a lot of people and had hundreds of success stories. Look, let me try to summarize, if I may. All right. The business itself, very simple. Identify needs people have, passionate needs. And by passionate, I don't mean necessarily something they like, anything that they're very emotionally eager to answer, right? Identify needs, pull together information that addresses those needs, either answers the question, solves the problem, fulfills the need, right? And then get it in front of those people. That's what this business is. Identify needs, create a product that addresses those needs, get it in front of the people who have those needs, right? It's really that simple. And of course, that's an oversimplification in terms of what's involved, but that conceptually, that's it, right? There will never be, this business will never end. There's never going to be a point at which, people don't have pressing needs and urgent problems that they want to solve, and will pay for the information to do that. It's only growing and will continue to do so. It's really a limitless business and a limitless field. If you know how to do that, I had said up front, life-changing information. This is, what is life-changing? Here's what's life-changing. If you are able to produce info products that people want to buy, if you know how to do that, you can create income for yourself anytime for the rest of your life. To my mind, that's life-changing. If I suddenly acquired an ability to generate income, and any income based on how much effort I wanted to put in, what does that do for me? That opens up the possibilities of not having to work for somebody else, not having to get a job, being able to work in my pajamas from home, being able to work when I wanted, being able to work where I wanted, not having to commute. Look, I'll tell you, for me, one of the things that lifestyle freedom entails is freedom of time and place, right? My business exists anywhere that I can get online. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to commute anywhere. As long as I can get online, I can run my business. And freedom of time, I can work the hours that I want. I don't have to be on somebody else's clock or schedule. If I want to sleep late every day and work late into the night, although my girlfriend might not agree, I could do that. Ideally, though, what this lifestyle freedom buys is not having to do that, is putting in the effort to generate the income at a much better multiple than a job, right? A job, you're trading, your time for somebody else's pay. Granted, it's time here too, but you get to configure the calculation. Nobody is going to pay me for my time what I can earn by applying my time to this business. And I can make that amount any amount that I choose. Okay, I really appreciate, Steve says, I was a 100K Blueprint customer and this has sounded pretty darn good. Thank you, Steve. 100K Blueprint, by the way, was the
brand that we produced all of our training products on. And by the way, just a quick mention, how did we come upon doing this? Years ago, I was just doing the internet marketing thing, figuring out how to make money online. I would try something, a business model, whether it was AdSense or AdWords or website flipping or affiliate marketing or CPA marketing. I'd focus on one of those, figured out how to do it until I could do it successfully, and then turn that into something that somebody else could use to do the same thing. So we'd figure out how to succeed with a business model and then turn that into something on paper, so to speak, a step-by-step guide so that other people could have the same success that we did. And those products were all labeled under the umbrella of 100K Blueprint. Then we decided to turn that from ebooks on how to succeed online to an interactive live training deal where people could ask questions, where we could be more current, where people could actually see, kind of like look over my shoulder. And that was a weekly live training membership called 100K Results that ran for about 3 years. So thank you, Steve. I know there are a few people here from that found us originally from 100K Blueprint and 100K Results. All right, I'll try one more question. You've all been very patient, and I hate to end because you've been so patient, but we do have to end at some point. So let's see if we can find a product that's representative. Oh man, there's a lot of questions here. My email is up there. I'll make a promise to you. Anyone that has a question that wasn't answered, if you email me, I promise to email you back with an answer. So if you had a question and it didn't get answered, or you want clarification or have another question, if you will email me at that address, mike@infobizacademy.net, I promise to answer you. So let's end it on that. Last chance, infobizacademy.net/yes will get you the full boat, the course, the private mastermind group, the live online training, plus 2 Skype calls, one-on-one Skype calls, any length, any time, any purpose. That goes away today. You'll still be able to get the course, which is going to be $495 plus $37 a month in another 2 days. If you jump on it before then, and you'll have to do infobizacademy.net/yes. Make sure you do that, because the regular site will charge you $495 plus $37 a month. You could get it for $149, and if you do it today, I'll also include the 2 one-on-one Skype sessions. So a big thank you to all of you for taking your time. I'm really appreciative and grateful that you've chosen to spend your valuable time listening to me. Hopefully you got something worthwhile. Hopefully you got a lot worthwhile out of it. Really, hopefully you'll join us in Info-Biz Academy and finally achieve what you had once hoped to, or what you've been planning on achieving, that internet marketing lifestyle freedom. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to end here. I'm going to shut off the recording if I can find out where that was. Here we go. So we're going to end the recording. We're going to end the webinar. Let's save. Make sure we save the questions. I'm sorry, the recording. I'm getting a little punchy. It's been a long day and a long few days putting this together. As I mentioned, this is the 3rd one of these we're doing, and the last of them. It was great to do, but I'm glad we're done. Now let's just figure out how to end the recording. Recording, there we go. Okay, thanks everybody. On that note, we'll say good night.